I had an email question about the starting line. Basically, a starting line is just a decal, which you pick your decal, and you put over here like default width 0.25. That way it'll be a thin line. Now this white that you sometimes see, sometimes don't, that's not a terrain. I mean, that's not a decal, really. That's just kind of like a placeholder until you put something there, which it could disappear. I just go into the inspector when you have your decal road editor picked and just pick a white line. Like this is a texture actually made for a white line. And you also have the option if you're in the decal road editor to say Control A, and you can adjust all the nodes, or individually by just selecting them one at a time, you can change them to whatever width you want them to be. Or like I said, you can make them one at a time. Oh, hard to pick these things when they are under other decals. But yeah, that's how I would do that, depending on what kind of line you're making. Whether it's one of them kind of lines or a starting line. Remember, you can also Control D and make copies of stuff, for quicker making of things. I'm going to pick both of them and clone them both and make two copies at one time. I mean, either way, you've got some options to like do that sort of stuff. I just don't like the way you can't pick them when they're under a damn decal. You got to move the thing out the way to get to it. That's the only annoying thing about it to me. So yeah, that's how you would do that. Pretty simple. I'd probably be a while before I swap my textures over to these new ones. They look really nice. It's very tempting, but it's just a lot of work. You got a lot of damn work to do when you do this. It's something I'm not looking forward to doing. They got these new ones here. Man, they're really nice. They got all these. You got base color, macro, detail. That's always been in there. And then you got a separate one for normal map, where the normal map can have one kind of normal map, have another kind of normal map, another kind of normal map. You basically got like 3 layers of normal maps now. Which normal maps is what makes these things look three-dimensional. Like look like they got detail that is not flat, like actual bumps and stuff. And then you got a roughness layer, which a roughness is usually a black and white of the same base color, but inverted. Uh, Inverted black and white. Well, I know it shows it red, but it's actually black and white. Then you got ambient occlusion, which is the shadows, basically. Not so much shadows, but where darker areas. Y'all know what ambient occlusion is. Y'all play games, so you got 3 settings for it now. And then the macro distance. This is how the macro is the repeating of a tile. Basically, you have a base texture, and then you got a repeating tile texture that's off in the distance, and it's how far that will go. Uh, and at some point, it does fade away. That's with the distance fade for the macro. And there's also a detail slider, which is a lot better than how they used to have it. So I'd say if you want to do this, it's easier to turn on in your editor. You can turn on in the editor preferences. Where's it at? There's a slider where you can fix it where you don't have to type. You can just put a slider bar in there. That's how I use mine. I don't like typing stuff. Let's find it. Uh, the, Where is that at? I think I done started over. Damn. I should open this up more. Unless they took it out. Use sliders in inspector. There it is. If you enable this, what this is supposed to do now, well, it doesn't in here apparently, but it does in here. I was hoping it would do it in there, but it doesn't. Damn. Yeah, it's a slider. You can slide. You don't have to type. But anyway, that's it for this. When I get around to doing these textures, I'll make a video on it. But man, you know what? For every single one of my textures, I got to come up with all them damn textures, which they may have 3 or 4 at the moment. So this could be a lot of work. Make something I want. That's why I'm not diving into it anytime soon. But I do like the way these new ones look. I knew they were coming. Hell, they've been talking about it. Anybody that works in the level editor knows they've been coming, because you couldn't save anything because it said that was a placeholder for 1.5, so I knew it was coming eventually. But anyway, y'all have a good one. We'll see you in the next one.